Hello and welcome into the Ultimate Florida Sports Show. I am Evan Closky alongside Ashley Gonzalez, who is filling in for Chris Porter this week. Ashley, how we living?
Oh, Evan, it's good to see you again, amigo. We have a great show for you today. Liam Coen continues to show his emotional side. The Rays are under official new management. Plus, we focus on Sunday's slate of games, searching for the best bets in the ultimate stakes. But, Evan, lead us off from Tampa.
Thank you so much, Ashley. Well, Chris Porter calls me the doctor because I always talk about injuries, and it's not my fault. Tampa Bay having a disastrous start to the season on this front. 9 Buccaneers did not even practice to start the week. 13 were limited. That's nearly 25% of the active roster. Mike Evans is still probably a couple of weeks away. The team could be down 2 cornerbacks in Seattle. Baker Mayfield hasn't logged a full practice in 2 weeks. But the biggest concern is around Bucky Irving, who was spotted in a walking boot and crutches this week. In just 4 games, he is already at 430 total yards, so there is certainly going to be some shuffling with Rachaad White likely getting the start this weekend and Sean Tucker needing to assume a larger role.
It's not the same without Buck because he brings a different spark to it and those explosive plays that you guys have seen for 2 years now that we'll be missing, but we'll see. And hopefully he's able to play, but if not, we trust the guys that are in there.
Sean Tucker was NFC Offensive Player of the Week last year when he had to step into a larger role. Do not be surprised to see him used on first and second downs plenty.
Well, Evan, it looks like the injury bug caught the Bucs early in the season. Jags fans know all too well what that feels like. All right, Evan, what about at cornerback? It looks like a rookie is making a name for himself out there.
Yeah, with Jamel Dean and Benjamin Morrison likely out, we could see rookie Jacob Parrish kick outside and have Tyke Smith move back to the nickel position. Jacob Parrish is an absolute dog out there. He's already emerged as one of the best at his position, should be in Defensive Rookie of the Year conversations. And what I love most about Parrish is his ability to tackle. Parrish is listed at 5'10", but Todd Bowles says he plays much bigger than that. The Buccaneers are loaded with guys who play with a chip on their shoulder, and Parrish is somebody who personifies that.
I would say my mindset, really. I grew up a wrestler, so I'm pretty physical. I like to hit all those things. And anytime I step on the field, I'm not thinking about size. I'm just thinking about I can win my matchup. So I feel like that allows me to be successful on the field.
Jason Light smashed this draft class this past year, and Parrish is a big reason why Tampa Bay has significantly improved with its coverage this season, and it will be needed because Seattle entered the week #1 in yards per pass attempt, and Sam Darnold has only lost 5 games in 2 years as quarterback, which is crazy.
Well, it looks like there was some drama over in the First Coast not too long ago. Head coach Liam Coen and Robert Saleh had some words. So, as we all know, the Jaguars beat the 49ers 26-21, and I have to say it because OMG, pinch me, it actually happened. While this was great for the Jaguars organization, it seemed like the Jaguars had no choice but to win. After all, the Jaguars were subtly accused of sign stealing. To be fair, the 49ers staff weren't exactly quiet about it. So, what does Liam Coen do? Beat the darn 49ers fair and square. Oh, hey, after the game, Liam Coen goes to the head coach, whatever, good game. Then 49ers defensive coordinator Robert Saleh says, I don't know what, we don't have the audio of it, but that's when Jaguars head coach Liam Coen said, keep my name out of your mouth. Coen made it clear this incident is his business, and the less we know is better for Liam Coen.
Oh, it was not a big deal, just keep that between us.
One more on that one.
No, I'm going to keep that between us.
So you didn't
No, just going to keep that between us right now. That's it.
I think Liam's doing a hell of a job. I really do. You can tell that team is really taking on his personality, and I hope they came out of the game healthy, and I wish him the best of luck throughout the rest of the season. But I wish I could have found a better choice of words, but my intent was always to compliment that staff.
So
lots of drama down there.
No, I know. Literally took the words out of my mouth, Evan.
Yeah, it's really nuts considering what's happening there. And I love Liam Coen, especially with what he did with the Buccaneers last season. But it does seem like the man's he's got to tame it back a notch, right? I mean, this is back-to-back weeks where he's getting called out for being too emotional. It's different when you're the head coach. The camera's always on you.
Oh, absolutely. Not to mention the Jaguars have so much more to prove still. We're only heading into week 5, Evan. So despite, week 2, despite the receivers having a hard time clicking, tight end Brenton Strange is staying consistent. And this is what's going to help the Jaguars elevate their game to the max. So that way, maybe when Liam goes a little crazy, it's a little bit more justified than what exactly you said. So tight end Brenton Strange really didn't get a lot of looks last season before former Jaguar Evan Ingram got hurt. But the moment Evan went down, that's when Brenton rose up. Heading into week 3 against the Houston Texans, Brenton Strange was the #1 receiver as far as completions go. At home, he's 10 for 11 when targeted. The 6'4", 250-pound giant can block, run, and catch. I say, when you're talking about BTJ, Parker Washington, Travis Hunter, do not forget about Brenton Strange, because honestly, he's the Jaguars' most dangerous weapon on offense right now.
I mean, it's like a car accident every time he's out there, whether he's catching it and getting hit and staying on his feet and going and competing to get more, or in the run game when he is blocking and able to spring some of those runs to get some more explosives that way. I just very much respect the way he plays the game.
So honestly, Evan, I think I like this fire in Liam Cohen, because if we talk about olden days, Doug Peterson didn't really have that dog in him, kind of like you see Liam kind of has. So I like that. He's standing on business like he said he would, and he loves this team, Evan. Shoot, having someone tell you you're cheating and you win fair and square might get anyone mad. Me, I definitely would, being a Latina and all. Tell me I'm lying when I'm not. I will tell you to keep my name out of your mouth. Your name out of my mouth. So speaking of drama, there are a lot of places to fill over in Miami, Evan.
Yeah, look, at least the Dolphins have a win under their belt, so there is that. But by now we've all seen the gruesome injury Tyreek Hill suffered on the field against the New York Jets earlier this week. His season's over, and for a guy built on so much speed, you have to wonder what the future looks like for his career. The encouraging news is he has been healthy for most of his career, so there's not a lot of other damage he has to deal with. On the other hand, he is going to be turning 32 in March. There's also another part of this story where, and I'm not going to get into the financial mumbo-jumbo of his contract, but he has 1 year left on his deal, and a bunch of that money is not guaranteed. Can the Finns find middle ground in the offseason to help him return to action at a cheaper price? Or was that the last game we've seen of Tyreek on South Beach? For athletes, you can love sports, but sports does not always love you back. It was good to see him in such positive spirits after the injury. We hope for a speedy recovery.
I think so too, and they call him the cheetah, and there's a reason why. So anytime anyone gets injured despite X, Y, or Z, their personal lives, you always want them to get back on the field healthy, because injuries are no bueno. So there's a pretty big Florida versus Florida game coming up. The Miami Hurricanes will take on Tally, the Florida State Seminoles. Evan, if you gave me this matchup last year, I would think it was satire or maybe cruel, because this game might be pretty good. And obviously we know what their season was last year, but you have former Bulldog and Jacksonville Mandarin Mustang Carson Beck on one side. Then on the other side, you have Tommy Castellanos. Castellanos took FSU under his helmet and dove headfirst into that end zone. His team is sitting at 3-1, while the Hurricanes remain undefeated at 4-0. So you have both teams playing lights out right now. I mean, their numbers on offense almost match up pretty evenly. ESPN thinks the Hurricanes have a 60% chance of winning, but for me, I think we give FSU a little bit more credit. I'm going 60-40, Hurricanes with 60% chance of getting the dub, and Florida State getting 40% of the dub. But I don't know. We'll see.
FSU played with its food a lot against Virginia. Certainly a look-ahead spot for the Noles. I think we're going to see Florida State's best punch this weekend. I would not be surprised if they win that contest against Miami. As for another team in South Beach, the Florida Panthers have lost Alexander Barkov for the season. Tampa Bay Lightning fans, while not the biggest fans of the Panthers, can certainly empathize with this news, considering everything that went on during Steven Stamkos' time with the Bolts. The truth is, there is no replacing a piece like Barkov on the Panthers. And having said that, they are the two-time defending champions and are stacked at many other positions. But let it be known, the team is coming off 3 straight Stanley Cup final appearances. I know many of their fans don't think the fairy tale is ever going to end, but it is so dang hard on these players to continuously put themselves through that ringer with very little break in between. Barkov is done for the season. Tkachuk is out half the season. I'm wondering if this is the year where the Panthers start seeing all those years of success catch up with them physically and mentally. It could be the toughest year yet for these Florida Panthers.
Gosh, for me, I say ride that high as long as you can, because sports are not easy, especially hockey, just like you said. Well, in a few minutes, we take a look back at Chris Godwin's emotional return to the football field in this week's Heart of the Game.
But first, it's the ultimate rush. Why Jacksonville is popping bottles on the baseball field, and while Rays fans need to hold off on the celebrations now that Stu Sternberg is out of the picture.
Welcome back. Time now for the ultimate rush. This is where we dig into some topics affecting the Sunshine State and beyond.
The only catch is we have 60 seconds to make our point, and I'm going to start us off with the Rays ending their season at 77 wins. First, let me say this. I'm starting to see fans ask for Pete Alonso, Kyle Tucker, now that the organization has new owners, and I would pump the brakes. The Zalipski Group out of Jacksonville just spent $1.7 billion on the team. Now they have to fund a new stadium. I don't know what the payroll is going to balloon to, but it's certainly not going to be something extravagant. As for the Rays this past season, I'm most optimistic about the pitching improving. If you look at the underlying metrics, Ks per 9, walks per 9, expected FIP, expected ERA, so on and so forth. The Rays were one of the best pitching staffs in the league. The only problem was they gave up so many home runs, and most of them at the wrong time with this bullpen. I think some of that will normalize in 2026. When you look at what the team has to do moving forward, they 100% need to fix the outfield. Tampa Bay needs an elite defensive center fielder and also a right fielder who can provide some semblance of productivity. I'd also like to see them go out and acquire a stud bullpen arm, since it will be a robust free agent market in that regard. I'm not going to say they'll win the World Series in 2026, but they'll be better.
All right, Evan, so some seasons ending suddenly, then some playing until the very last possible game. Jacksonville just welcomed some champions. History was made in Jacksonville after the Jumbo Shrimp won the AAA National Championship for the first time in history. Let me break down why this is such a massive deal. Folks, the Jumbo Shrimp hadn't even been in the playoffs since 2017. And in 2017, they were knocked out pretty early. So before taking on the AAA championship, the Jumbo Shrimp had to win the International League. So guess what? For the first time since 1968, the Jumbo Shrimp won the International League title. And just a few days later, that's when they won the AAA championship. And we're going to give credit where it's due. David Carpenter is the team manager. This was his first season as head coach. So hats off to Mr. Carpenter. Jumbo Shrimp got it done. Championships are on their way to Jacksonville right now. Evan, I could feel it. It's in the air. We are here. It's right here.
And Peter Bendix has done a fantastic job with that organization, coming over from the Rays to the Marlins, and you can see that from the top down, all the success that they are having.
There you go. All right, so time now for the heart of the game. This is where we go beyond the X's and O's and remind y'all why we fell in love with sports in the first place. Evan, you have a great story. Out of Tampa this week. Tell me about it.
It was a great story out of Tampa. It was so cool seeing Chris Godwin Jr. make his season debut against the Eagles. This is someone who suffered a gruesome leg injury almost exactly 1 year ago. Not too different than what we saw with Tyreek Hill. He was not even eased into action. He played 81% of offensive snaps. He was targeted 10 times, but only snagged 3 receptions as he shakes off the rust. It was the first time he suited up in a game with Godwin Jr. on the back of his jersey, honoring his father, who passed away. It was also the first time he would play in front of his child, Ace, who was born not too long ago. Chris is a tremendous story in patience and perseverance.
Extremely grateful to be out there. Very emotional moment for me. It's been a long journey. I'm extremely grateful to be back on the field, be back out there with my teammates, and just have the opportunity to play the game again. I'm so fortunate to do that.
Chris Godwin Jr. is a beloved player in that locker room, a beloved man in this community, and he's just a really, really good dude with such a great head on his shoulders. Hopefully we see him play plenty this year and he gets more and more comfortable out there on the field, but certainly a great example for others to see.
Congrats to Chris, and you are right, a great example out there for many. Coming up in 3 minutes, we're talking about the Buccaneers' big game in Seattle, plus the Jags on prime time against the Chiefs, our best bets in the ultimate state.
Hey, Dad. I don't need you to be perfect.
I don't need you to be a superhero. I know you don't have it all figured out. Y eso está bien, porque eres mi papá. And that's enough.
And scientific study shows when my dad is involved,
great things happen.
when test scores go up,
I'm less anxious. I just become the best version of me.
We are back for our Ultimate Stakes segment. This is where we take a look at the odds via the Hard Rock betting app and give you our thoughts on the biggest games this week.
But this is just a reminder, this is for entertainment purposes only, so don't come after us unless you're spreading love. Evan, start us off with the Bucs game, please.
Yes, if the Buccaneers were fully healthy, I would lean towards Tampa Bay winning this game. But from a side standpoint, I think it's Seahawks or pass. Seattle's defense is very good. The rushing defense is elite. I expect Baker Mayfield to have to throw plenty on Sunday. The Seahawks have at least one interception in every game this year. Baker plays a risky brand of football. I think he's going to throw a pick. Meanwhile, with Bucky Irving banged up, someone has to take over that dump down role at running back, and it's going to be Rachaad White. I think over 21.5 receiving yards looks good to me. On the flip side, I like Kenneth Walker for north of 12.5 receiving yards. The Bucs struggle against running backs as pass catchers. I think Walker can only get one catch and still beat that. Ashley, what do you have for Monday Night Football?
First up, can we just talk about how the Jaguars have a better record than the Kansas City Chiefs right now? Yo, we're in week 5 and the Jags are 3-1 and the Chiefs sit at 2-2. I'm feeling crazy, Evan, and I got the Jaguars beating the Chiefs. And before you call me crazy, I think the Jaguars can do this if there's a big if. If the defensive team keeps dominating, that's one. Now on offense, the receivers need to catch the ball, okay? That giant messy game against the Texans, I need to see BTJ look like the guy we saw last season. I need to see Travis Hunter score a darn touchdown. And on defense, just show up. On offense, ball out. I got the Jaguars on the money line at plus 155.
Yeah, the Jags defense has been feasting on teams this season. I do not believe Mahomes is going to fall into some of these traps. Call me a hater, call me cliche, but I do believe Kansas City is the right side in this one, and bragging rights will be on the line for both of us next week with that pick. As for the Dolphins game, this is an ugly one. You come off Monday night, short rest, lose a star player, and now have to head to Carolina and play a terrible Panthers team. I love Devon Achane for a touchdown. As for Tyreek's replacement, I think Malik Washington is someone to watch, north of 32.5 yards. And also, I like Tet McMillan scoring his first touchdown of the season. He is beyond due. I have no idea between Miami or Carolina who's going to win this game, Ashley.
Well, the time now is for the last word. Evan, in 3 minutes, we talk about the Jags needing to fill up the stadium Monday night, plus why the NFL is changing dramatically because of one position. Stick with us. Time now for our last word. This is where we clear the paint and sound off on a topic that has caught our attention. Evan, what do you have for us?
Yeah, the game of football is changing just like the steroid era in baseball. Eagles defensive coordinator Vic Fangio is saying the kicking balls are juiced. He swears Cowboys kicker Brandon Aubrey is going to hit a 70-yarder this season. Also, Chase McLaughlin of the Buccaneers just hit a 65-yarder, the longest field goal smashed outdoors in NFL history. Now, Fangio is exaggerating a bit, but now that the K-balls are prepped differently before games, he is correct. There will be some added distance on field goals. It means the defense has a harder job. It means a 2-minute drill in any game is more feasible. It's also evolution right before our eyes. Kids are growing up and they want to be kickers. The college game is featuring kids drilling 50-yarders. You know, in arena football leagues where you have the skinny field goal posts, you have to wonder if kickers become so good at this sport, if down the line, in the way future, that could be an option. But for now, we are living in the golden era of kicking. Ashley, what do you have for us?
Man, you know what, Cam Little, I'm going to just say that right now. Anyways, just days before the Jaguars host the Chiefs on Monday Night Football, the Jaguars, along with head coach Liam Cohen's wife, Ashley Cohen, reached out to the community to give tickets away. Hearing of this wasn't a shock, okay? From the last season to the preseason, I'm not sure how possible it was to sell out these tickets, if I'm being so honest. But hey, I am impressed with the outpour of support to rally for the Jaguars. Ashley Cohen, Liam Cohen's wife, said on social media she was giving tickets to first responders and teachers on our first coast. 1, that's awesome. 2, if Jaguars fans weren't coming to Monday Night Football, they are now. In fact, within 10 hours of posting about the tickets for first responders and teachers, they had more than 1,000 email submissions. Safe to say, they're going to fill up that bank. Evan?
Yeah, and look, the tide is turning there in Jacksonville, right? They got a great team. Liam Cohen's a great coach. He's got a great staff behind him. You support this team, especially against the Chiefs in primetime Monday night. Thank you so much for watching. Ashley will return next week with Chris Porter out once again. We will see you right back here next week.